Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
And so is the Yankees season. So is the MLB season, because the Los Angeles Dodgers are World Series champions. Frederick Freeman, the MVP. Mookie Betts, 3 rings for Mookie. Shohei Ohtani, after conquering the World Baseball Classic with Japan, is now a World Series champion. Another ring for Dave Roberts. Got one as a player, 2 as a manager. The Los Angeles Dodgers have conquered the baseball world once again. World Series champions. Welcome into the program. It is the finale of our late night sessions, which, by the way, have been awesome. I mean, the response to them has been great. You guys have been totally receptive to getting the daily pods and, tuning in the second that they drop at like fucking 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is. So thank you guys for tuning in. But we're going to put a bow on this thing as the World Series has concluded here tonight. For the last time here, we can talk about October baseball. October is when legends are made. Begin your road to greatness on Underdog, where you can make picks on all your favorite players' stats. All you have to do is choose higher or lower on things like strikeouts, total bases, and home runs. You're going to have to wait until next year to do that. But they do have every other sport. You can win up to 1,000 times your money playing their Pick'em game. Sign up for Underdog using the promo code Jared. That's Jared. And you'll get a free pick as part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Again, that's promo code Jared. You could have cashed in on every home run during the playoffs with Underdog, but now you can do that with other sports as well. Wow. Here's my lead take. As a neutral fan, my lead take here tonight is it didn't feel like a gentleman's sweep. The Dodgers get it done in 5. Did not feel like a gentleman's sweep. However, I think it's because Game 5 felt like 3 games all in one. Like it felt like it was a Yankees ass kicking to start it. Then you had the Dodger comeback. The Yankees retake the lead. The Dodgers take the lead back. It was an awesome game, but it definitely felt like a tale of 3 different postseason games in one tonight.
Well, and because you're getting so much depth, I think, on both sides as well, right? You're seeing DAWGS early, and you're seeing them for an extended period of time. Shout out Blake Treinen. But you're watching momentum build and plateau, and then it happens for the other guys, and it's just an exchange. Like we continue to use, and it is a cliche, but it's because it's for good reason. Like everybody, I think you think about Rocky and just the massive blows between two pugilists, and that's what these teams were. And you got it, like I said, from all corners of these roster. And tonight was a really good example of that. And we'll get into what the Dodgers and this victory means to them. But I think just more so that's part of the vibe, is because everybody's walking away from this battle bleeding.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to your point about how it feels that way because in addition to everything Dallas just said, the Yankees won the biggest blowout game. So the losing team had the most quote unquote decisive win. And this is not how World Series are determined, but the final run total here was 25-24 in favor of the Dodgers.
That's like some Mets Royal shit.
Yeah. And I would argue, I think there are a lot of parallels between this World Series and that one for sure, in terms of how it felt at the time versus we look back and, it was 4-1. But there's definitely reasons for why we feel that way.
No doubt. I think too, when you look at it and how we view the Dodgers, right? Like they spent over $1 billion on 2 players coming into the season. They're this juggernaut franchise. They went into the postseason with 3 starters. Like it's like they didn't have Tyler Glasnow. They didn't have Shohei Ohtani. They knew that they weren't going to have Shohei Ohtani on the mound. Yamamoto was hurt weeks prior to the playoffs starting. So we didn't really know what Yamamoto was going to look like. There was a lot of uncertainty with the Dodgers from a pitching perspective coming into the postseason. Ultimately, they end up winning the World Series. I don't even want to say decisively because I don't want to like gloss over how the NLCS went 6 games. I know, Jay, you said it was like one-sided. I mean, when I said, I had the tweet the other day that the Dodgers-Padres DS series was kind of the World Series. And then, people were talking about, well, the Padres didn't score like the last 24 innings of that series. And, the Mets took them to 6 games and yada, yada. But when we look at the Dodgers roster construction and the payroll and the offseason moves coming into this year, you're like, yeah, of course they won the World Series. They were a fucking monster. But then you break it down and you're like, well, they went in and Jack Flaherty was their game 1 starter and he wasn't even on the team to start the year. So like they kind of had to go a couple of different ways just to right the ship. And it's even scarier. Like I had the tweet after they won the World Series, like it's not just, I know that like Heyman put it out there that they're linked to Juan Soto, but then Passan shut that down pretty quickly. Let's say they don't even get Juan Soto. It's like, okay, well, Shohei Ohtani's pitching next year. They will have Tyler Glasnow returning and Dustin May is going to come back. We don't know what that's going to look like, but like they will objectively be better next year. And I don't want to say they went untouched to a World Series title because that's dishonest. But no series, I guess they did go to a decisive game 5 with San Diego, but like the NLCS done in 6, World Series done in 5. But yeah, they're built to go on a run.
And I think, and that right there, though. So what you just said at the very end, they're built to go on a run. They've been on the run. Well, I think that's why you also think about it in a way where it tells you, or it makes you feel like, was that decisive? And I think the way that the game has evolved in terms of how postseason series and postseason games are won. And if you're a team like the Dodgers, that's why there's so much credit that needs to go to the Dodgers for being able to withstand the litany of injuries that came their way and for them to figure out a way to apply their depth. Because it's one thing to have depth and really not be able to take advantage of it. It's another thing to not have depth and ride certain guys. And when that goes awry, you're toast. But it's a completely different animal when you're able to not only create the depth for yourself, then acquire the depth and then apply the depth and have it all contribute. Because for what Shohei Ohtani did, and I guess did not do in the postseason, 105, I believe he hit in the World Series, 2 hits, right? Judge had 2 more hits than
he was definitely cooked after the shoulder injury.
Oh, he's toast. Absolutely toast. And you're just hoping the presence. And like I was legitimately questioning, like, if this continues after a day off, like, what's that?
So they bench him in game 6. Like I have the same thought.
Got to. It's almost like you have to. And I don't know, do you wait and hope and tell him, look, one swing late in the game, and that's when you're going to get it.
No chance. They're not going to bench Shohei. No chance. Day off too. No chance. And he's not going to sit out.
I felt like that was a conversation that you may have had to have.
Yeah.
Ohtani's corpse is more valuable than whoever.
I want to believe that too, Joe, but I was having in very real time, I was also debating like, oh, dude, I mean, they're not really competitive at bats at all. And I mean, like, honestly, it's almost like the injury probably, how many times has Shohei Ohtani had a catcher's interference call this season?
More than anyone else by far in baseball.
Do you know that, Joseph?
I don't know the stat for sure, but he gets it more than anybody.
Does he?
Yes.
Okay. So if that's the case,
why else would you bring that up? Am I not wrong? I mean, I couldn't pull that up in a database, but I remember that being a massive talking point. Watching Dodgers games this year.
That he gets interference. Well, because he's long, right?
Yeah. Because he lets pitches get so deep because he's so locked in.
But it's also catchers trying to steal strikes.
Well, the catcher's coming up. Yeah.
That's another big aspect. But Shohei gets more than anybody.
I was just wondering, like, does the injury have anything to do with just the drag and the swing? You know what I mean? As opposed to, because it's one thing to let the ball get deep. It's another to not be able to get the swing going, to not be able to get the backside
He was late on everything. He was late on every single pitch.
Yeah, and so that's why
I would attribute that to catcher's interference, but it does go to show to speak. Like if Shohei was at full strength, this isn't even a game, in my opinion.
Well, I believe there's probably
it just shows how damaged the Dodgers are, and to win this, only losing one game this series, win it in 5 games. I know the games were close, but I mean they won it. They only lost one game. It was a game they kind of punted on anyway. And to do that, with Gerrit said, they have no starting pitching and no Shohei.
And the bullpen, because of the bullpen game, was shot. Like, shout out to Blake Treinen, got you 7 fucking outs tonight. And then you had to go to Walker Buehler to close it out, because after that, you didn't have anybody.
They had nobody. And Walker Buehler, what was his stats this year in the regular season? Like he had to be statistically one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball. And to come in, and I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head his last start, what his line was, but to come in and close it out, relying on that. I'm just saying they're good, man. I'm just saying they're good.
They're good. They're deep. They're World Series champions. I mean, think about it this way, right? Like we're going to get into the whole, Yankees mishaps, plural, that went down in this game. But Jack Flaherty goes an inning and a third tonight. 4 earned runs, gives up 2 bombs, and Gerrit Cole's on the mound. And I know that he made a fucking shithead play not covering first base, but it was 5 unearned runs for Gerrit Cole. So you're looking at being down 5-0 with Gerrit Cole still going 7 innings and none of the runs being his fault, other than, like, I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, like it wasn't his fault, but like if you cover first base, then the damage doesn't get to the degree that it gets where you have a tie ball game. But that again speaks to the depth and just how good the Dodgers are, that they can be down 5-0 with Gerrit Cole on the mound and still win that baseball game. Like, how many fucking teams in not just in the American League, in all of baseball, how many teams, if they spot Gerrit Cole a 5-run lead, are coming back to win that game? With the caveat, I'm telling you that Gerrit Cole's going 7 that night too.
Well, I mean, you're not factoring in a defensive letdown to the extent that occurred. I mean, that is. I am
factoring that in.
Well, what are you asking then?
I'm saying how many teams?
Every team
down 5-0 going up against Gerrit Cole. If I told you he's going 7, how many teams come back and win that game?
Well, I mean, really, you're just asking you're asking a question about how many teams are able to capitalize on the mistakes that were made, because
you also have to create the mistakes. Like these are balls in play. And I think Teoscar Hernandez was talking about it in the post game. And it's the old adage of baseball: you put the ball in play, good things will happen. Like that's today's game. Not everyone's subscribing to that.
No, but I do think in the postseason, I think we would all agree to this, that we see the shift in approach in the postseason, where the value of putting the ball in play is there, and you can see it, you can feel the game and how it's changed. That's why when we watch a starting pitcher go out there and dominate, it's a big deal. Let's get into the Volpe thing though. Like that play over to third base, that's really the only play he has. Like he's probably not going to get the runner at second base, because it's not even about a double play in that moment. It's really, are you even going to be able to get the lead runner at second base? And the answer is probably no. So here's your play. Momentum taking you this way. And it's probably more about a bad throw coupled with a guy who's still trying to get familiar with playing third base in Jazz Chisholm. And that's a tough play, because Jazz is heading back to third base. He's also got to field a short hop. I mean, it's just not an easy play.
And the runner is in between the throw. I was just going to say, also dealing with the runner. So you've got a lot going on for a guy in Jazz who maybe isn't quite familiar with that stuff. And it's an elimination game. There's a lot of energy going on as well. But I think just as far as where you're going with the baseball in that moment, there was no other play he really was going to be able to make. So from a what other team is going to be able to do this perspective, that's not a play that Volpe was trying to make because it was this specific athlete. But to the point of Teoscar, and to the point we always make, put the ball in play, you force the team to do 3 things.
which is really, really tough as opposed to just catching the fly ball. When you got to catch the ground ball, throw the ball, and then catch it on the other end, there's a few more things involved. So you can see why it really behooves you to apply pressure at any point in the game, let alone late in the game.
I also saw some fans saying like Volpe should have ate it. I disagree with that. Like, you at least have to attempt to make the out. Like, you can't eat that. You got to at least attempt to make the out.
If the, correct me if the throw had been where it needed to be, I think he's out, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
it was a bad throw. It was a bad throw.
Yeah,
That
bad
was
throw.
on Volpe.
but
But
I
I
think
think
questionably, yeah.
Bad throw. Like the only thing I was thinking about, like Jazz in the moment, like if you're comfortable over there and you've got to read, are you able to get back to the bag a little more timely? Like you know what I mean? I don't in that moment.
Yeah,
I don't know. And who knows? And honestly, I think that I asked that question of him because I would like to think that he's going to be able to adjust quickly and that he would get comfortable quickly. And that's me just asking a lot. But ultimately, that play is on Volpe, and that's a bad throw. It's a good idea. It's the only play he was going to have to make. It was just poorly executed.
Dallas, as a former big league pitcher, the Gerrit Cole play, Anthony Rizzo ground ball to first base, and Gerrit Cole points at Rizzo as if to say, like, you take it. Is he in the neighborhood to take that and record the out himself? And even if here's obviously, like, I'm going to give my perspective to lead you to the question, but even if Gerrit Cole believes Anthony Rizzo can take that and make the play unassisted, shouldn't he at least still be in motion to first base?
Oh, yeah.
Because he was not. He just pointed at him like, you go.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things where maybe you feel like you've executed your pitch, you got the result, and then you're like, shit, there's one more level to this. And in that moment, time has already gone by. Hustling, running down the line.
Isn't that just muscle memory though? As a pitcher, like ground ball to the right side, it's almost like you see it out of your peripherals and you don't even make the decision. Your body just takes you to first base because you've done this hundreds of times, thousands of times.
Well, no, he got halfway there and then stopped.
Well, it's he gets halfway there and stopped, but this is the other thing that didn't happen, right? Is, correct me if I'm wrong, Rizzo did not charge that ball, did he? Rizzo did not charge that ball.
He did not.
So what you have is you have a guy in Gerrit Cole who has been working his ass off through that fifth inning, right? And doesn't, because when did this happen? What inning was this?
Fifth.
This was the end of the fifth?
Yeah, it was the top of the fifth.
So working his ass off through this inning and gets to a point where, all right, I've executed. I've got the weak ground ball. This is done. And Rizzo, maybe hanging back, is expecting exactly what you're talking about, Jared, which is muscle memory. And he's expecting the pitcher in that moment to be busting over and getting over, and that being a done deal. Like, as a lefty, you know, you're when you finish, you could fall over towards the third base side. Like, for a right-hander, for him coming through, he could very well still be on his way over towards first base naturally, right? But it didn't happen. It happened to an extent, and then you're caught where you've created the Bermuda Triangle instead of being able to navigate it.
Jay, what was your take on the play?
Well, it wasn't good. I would have done it differently. Is probably where I would start. It's simultaneously, like, obviously the Judge play is the most straightforward to me. Like, obviously bonehead, bad play, you know, just physical. But like, this is the more interesting one, I think, because it's a mental element too, right? You can break down the Rizzo part mentally, the charging, not charging. You can, or for that matter, you know, getting to first base at all. You can break down the mental side from Gerrit Cole. There's a whole, I mean, Smoltz was talking about it afterwards, and you could see physically, but like, Gerrit Cole was wearing that physically as it went out, as the inning progressed. And, you know, I know he was surprised. I was also surprised. And I think it was to Gerrit Cole's credit that he threw 2 more innings after that debacle.
Yes.
And I do think, you know, we have fun with Gerrit Cole. I think if it was, if somebody who had a tough guy bulldog reputation did what he did in terms of coming back from that situation and throwing 2 more innings and putting his team in the position to win the game and sort of not absolving himself, but putting himself and the team in a position to put his mistake in not covering behind them, which the Yankees were at one point. I think he would be getting a lot of credit. Obviously the game didn't play out the way that anybody's going to talk about that moving forward, but that was my reaction.
So I mean, it's for anyone that like misremembers the series of events, the 5th inning starts with Kike Hernandez with a leadoff base hit. Then you have Aaron Judge, who homered, made a great catch out in left center, has a fly ball hit right to him, and he just takes his eye off of it and closes the glove before the ball's there, drops it. So now you've got a guy on. Then you have the Will Smith reaching with the play that we just talked about, Anthony Volpe going to third base there. So it's now that's bases loaded with nobody out. Nobody out. So what does Gerrit Cole do? Punches out Gavin Lux, swinging. Gets Shohei Ohtani, punches him out, swinging. And you're like, all right, bases loaded, nobody out. He just fucking struck out the next 2 guys. He's going to get out of this. And then Mookie Betts is at the plate. He gets the weak ground ball to the right side, and he doesn't cover first base. That would have been the 3rd out. You get out of the inning 5-0 still. So everyone wants to say, yeah, man, well, it's not his fault. You know, like it's 5 runs, but they're all unearned. And it's like, okay, but if he had covered first base, it's inning over, 5-0 Yankees. And there's more than likely a game 6 on Friday night in Los Angeles.
I mean, you can say that because it's a run and they lost. They needed to score more runs. I mean, and to the point where the mental breakdown you're talking about, Jay, and that's why I said it's an exhaustion thing. And I think it'd been documented that Anthony Rizzo tired at this point in time in the season. Everybody is tired at this point in time of the season. Everybody. But Gerrit Cole, to go through what he went through in that inning and then to work his way out of it. That's why I said at the end result, you get your weak contact. But where Rizzo was playing as well, like the reason he's probably not able to charge that ball is because of where he's at. And if I'm remembering correctly, that ball had some spin on it. That ball had some English on it. And you're talking about Rizzo being a left-handed fielder, right? So he's got to do one of 2 things. Either backhand this ball and make a throw to first base on the run, or he's going to have to shuffle over and get in front of it and square up on the baseball so that he can then make any sort of decent feed to a
pitcher.
He could make a decent feed to a. Where the fuck are you? What the fuck are you doing?
It is crazy. It is crazy. And I know that, like, you know, because he ended up going 6 2/3 and it was 0 earned runs, Yankee fans were quick to say this is on Judge. This is on Volpe.
It is on Judge.
It is.
It's
like
that was right. That was the easiest play, dude.
Judge and Volpe were the reasons why the bases were loaded with nobody out. But Gerrit Cole struck out the next 2 guys and then did not cover first base. Like, it's on him. If he covers first base, he gets out of the bases loaded jam.
Give him a little bit of credit for striking out 2 guys. You know, what did Judge do that inning?
I'm not putting this, and I'm not putting that solely on Gerrit Cole.
I'm not putting it solely on him, but if he really he had the opportunity to get out of the bases loaded jam. He had the opportunity.
Sure. Well, frankly, I'm fired up because of what he did, how he nutted up and punched out those 2 dudes. And
All for naught.
All for naught. But I think, like, if we're playing the blame game, those 3 plays, all 3 of them are bad, but the Aaron Judge play is the worst of the 3 by far. For me,
Those are all bad.
But like, if Aaron Judge
playoff-
catches the ball right to him, the Yankees win. And this is a guy who had the worst postseason of any. We're just talking about how he's choking the whole postseason. Worst postseason for an MVP ever, probably. And then to literally, I know he had a home run, but he cost them the game. One of 3 players.
Partly.
Like, that's an easier play than Gerrit Cole covering first. Even Gerrit Cole covering first, not to say it, would have been bang bang. Jared, it would have been bang bang.
What it boils down for me
first.
is, yes, you blame Judge for the error. Yes, you blame Volpe for the bad throw. But Gerrit Cole had the opportunity to erase both of those things and have them mean absolutely nothing, and he didn't cover first base, which led to a run scoring, Freddie Freeman 2-run knock, and then Teoscar Hernandez 2-run double. And boom, now it's 5-5. Could have been 5-0 inning over.
That's where you're choosing to start to lay the blame.
No hitter, Jared. He had a no hitter.
That's where you're choosing
he
to
took
start.
a no hitter deep.
And that's fine.
When was last time starting pitcher threw 7 innings in a World Series game?
Matt Harvey?
I know Jay has the answer to that.
Wait, the last time any starting pitcher threw 7 innings in a World Series game?
Complete.
Well, just like seven or more innings.
Yeah, it's rare.
Innings.
It's a
I'm
rare.
Gonna say it happened. I'm going to say it happened last year. Is my guess.
I think Merrill Kelly did it last year.
Yeah, hold on one second. We'll get a quick answer here. Hold on one second.
I think Merrill Kelly did it last year, but that's one in a lot. And who did it before Merrill Kelly?
Well, we're going to get that answer too. I mean, it's going to be right here in a matter of seconds.
I'm just sticking up for Gerrit Cole. I know you want to talk shit about, Spider.
I'm not talking shit.
I'm not talking shit. We want to put the whole
facts.
Yankees season on Gerrit Cole.
So
facts.
We like to have
7 innings.
We like to have fun, but yeah, Joe's more right than wrong here. He's exactly right on Merrill Kelly being the only one to do it last year. He did it in Game 2, only pitcher on either side last year to do that, and it was not done in the 22 postseason, World Series. It was not done in the 21 World Series, and it was not done in the 20 World Series. Prior to that, it happened 3 different times in the 2019 World Series, twice by Gerrit Cole and once by Steven Strasburg.
So to get that length out of your starter and to lose that game and then blame that same starter for losing that game.
I mean, what am I wrong about?
Blaming Gerrit Cole.
If he covered first base, he's out of the inning 5-0 Yankees.
If
you
Judge catches the
center
ball,
field.
Yep. If Judge catches the ball, it's an out.
We all catch that ball.
That's before that, though. Like, that doesn't happen after.
What do you mean? Well, that's an
If
out
Gerrit
with
Cole-
a runner on
if-
first base and an opportunity to throw one more pitch and then be out of the inning.
If
with a double
Aaron
play.
Judge catches that fly ball, Gerrit Cole gets that at an inning with like 80 pitches. Gerrit Cole's going 8 innings if Aaron Judge catches that fly ball.
If you
argue.
If you offered fans an opportunity to simulate, to get out there for like a fan experience, an interactive fan experience, and they got an opportunity to try and catch that ball that Aaron Judge fucked up, how do you think that would go for most people?
Jared's catching that 100%. I would put $10,000 on Jared catching that.
How many people that participated in the Dinger Derby? Hold on, Dallas. How many people that participated in the Dinger Derby? You don't have to name people. What percentage of those people are catching that ball first try?
If there were 10 of us. I'm going to say 10,
10.
20% of us, 10%. Yeah. 10%.
You think 2 of 10 people are going to catch that? So basically you think
I would catch it. Connor would catch it. Dallas would catch it. Jake maybe would catch it. Tyler's not catching it. Coley maybe. Steve definitely not.
You're saying I'm not catching it?
I didn't get to you yet, Joe.
You know what?
I'm the last guy in this.
30%. Joe. I got me, Joe, and Connor making that catch.
I was a fucking outfielder. What are you talking
Jared's
about?
making it too.
Jared, I've watched it. Stop it. You don't.
Let me interject
he's making
here.
it?
Dallas is saying I wouldn't make the catch because we played in a softball game with the shittiest lights in the world, and the ball was
a day game.
The ball was no, it wasn't.
It's a day game.
It was at night. 1,000%. We have video of it. The ball was 50 feet over my head. This ball was like all you had to do was come in and catch it. It was right at him. Like there was no like chasing it, running back. Like no, like it was a routine catch. Most
Jared's
people should
making
make
it.
that catch. Steve and Tyler are not making that catch, but I have faith in pretty much everybody.
Jake's making it. I'm making it. Dallas is making it.
Yeah.
Jay, I would have said you made it. What you just said earlier makes me think you don't have confidence that you'd make it. So
do you have 8 out of 10 people making that catch, Jay?
No, I think I would take the under on 8, and I feel like I personally would consider myself a toss up. I think ball off the bat. You only get one chance to do this. I think people are freaking the fuck out more often than they realize.
Okay.
That ball was not hit lightly either.
I mean, you got to come in on it. That's a catch.
But you are Aaron Judge.
Well, yeah, he's got to catch it. Right. Yeah.
You are.
Mhm.
Yeah,
If I'm Aaron Judge, I'd make the catch, be honest.
Yeah.
And I probably hit a couple more dingers.
Like,
Probably
is there any thought that it's lost in the lights? It's lost in the ribbon?
No, I think it was as simple
Can you
as
imagine?
it was such an easy routine catch that he's like, I can make that catch in my sleep. And he was just like, he was like half paying attention to it. He's like, I've made this catch a million times. It's right at me. I got it.
He
And
was
he
on
just
such a high. He was on such a high. Like the whole narrative shift. Like it was Aaron Judge, choke artist. Last game, kind of bails himself out. Whatever. Then hits the homer now. Aaron Judge is back, makes the fucking catch in center field. He's on cloud 9, sees the ball right at him. He's so happy, doesn't even think. Worst case scenario, drops it right to him.
yeah.
Not that we should be taking John Smoltz at his word, but I think Smoltz said he was also he looked at the runner.
Yeah. His
that's
eyes
why
were off the play. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. He was looking like, I think he was maybe thinking that Tommy Edman had gotten far enough off the bag that he was thinking about giving it a fucking heave. That he was trying to let one fly.
They
That's
showed it.
what
They
I-
showed it after in slow motion, so you could actually see the direction of his eyes, and it was not on the ball.
Well, and if you watch, like, I'm trying to go back. Hold on. Would you be? I can't fuck. I'm not going to look and even try to find that thing right now. I bet, like, I'm trying to replay it over in my head right now. If you look at his feet, like the way he was starting to work his body, like I think he was. Yeah, I think he's setting up. He's setting up to go that way. That's I was just like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Like not questioning him in setting up to make that play. Just like, what are you doing? Like, shit, he dropped it. Fuck, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What's happening?
I saw on the broadcast that the Yankees all time were 45-5 in games that Judge and Stanton both homered in. So now 45-6, unfortunately. Question for you, Dallas. Tommy Canley comes into this game, who I believe got the loss. Yeah. Yes. Tommy Canley comes into this game, does not record an out, gives up 2 hits, 2 earned runs charged to him, and walks a guy. I believe it was on 4 pitches. The narrative, as we know, around Tommy Canley threw nothing but changeups. He mixed in 1 fastball his last time out, but went right back to just changeup. In a best of 7 series, when they're going to get a look at this guy multiple times, and granted, he has a really good changeup, but this is the Dodgers. Their lineup is deep. They are full of MVPs. How ill-advised, or is it just unlucky, if a guy has one really good pitch and all he throws is that pitch, so the hitters just see it over and over and over again to the point where it's almost like playing rock, paper, scissors, and you just throw scissors every time. And it's like, all right, eventually, like, I know how to combat that. Do you think, is that what happened tonight with Canley? I know the command wasn't excellent, but, he gave up a couple knocks and it was obviously all on changeups. So what is your take on Canley just throwing changeups?
So it's, when you think about what a slider does and what a slider works off of, it's velocity, right? And it's coupled with movement. That's what really starts to create the different levels of devastation when it comes to the slider. Is this a sweeper? Is this really more the gyro, which is, the traditional spiral, more vert? And what sort of action, what sort of swing and miss do you get on a pitch like that? But a lot of it has to do with what that pitch is working off of. Even if you still get guys that get out there and are throwing this pitch 60 plus, 70 plus % of the time, it's really about their ability to keep you honest with a fastball every now and then. But we're also talking about different shapes and movement. And I think for the changeup, it's tough for a changeup to be that big 2-plane pitch, right? And so when you start to think about what a hitter can do and where they can adjust, like a poorly thrown changeup is really just about horizontal movement or the lack thereof, because we haven't established any sort of velocity. We're just talking about hitters sort of categorizing it and Rolodexing it as a poor fastball or a fastball that lacks velocity but has movement, like almost like a dead zone fastball where it's I don't know. Well, maybe not dead zone because it's on the outside of the horizontal, not to get too into the weeds of movement, but it's very tough because you've given them nothing to separate off of.
So is it ill-advised?
Yes, I would. Well, put it like this: the numbers tell you that it worked until it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I guess it's. I guess the question is more so like, it's got to be more ill-advised than a best-of-7 series where you're gonna see the same guys over and over and over again versus like, all right, we're gonna see you for a 3-game series. I might appear once, maybe twice in the series, and then I won't see you again for 2 months.
Well, you have to start.
Like, I'm gonna see you every night.
You have to be ready to attack them in different ways. And that's where, if you are somebody who is just that one trick pony and this is how you're going to get it done, well, in this moment here, you got to realize that this is a team and this is a lineup full of guys that are going to be able to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
This is
his heater is fucking 96. It's like, it's not even like, it's like, oh, like I throw this like sick. It's not like, no offense to Zach Greinke. It's not like he throws this awesome changeup, but like his fastball is 88, like he throws 96.
Yeah. And when that's not there,
man, it was working. It was working all postseason, I believe. And honestly, if you look at his appearances in this game, he gave up the hit,
2 hits
off the inning. But one of those hits was a bullshit ass squibber.
You're right.
Was a lucky ass hit, and the other one was a walk. And he only threw 8 pitches. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was been good all postseason. He only threw 8 pitches. He walked one guy. Could you blame him only throwing a changeup for that walk?
What do you mean?
Like, he walked the third hitter. He faced 3 hitters, gave up the hit to Kike, then gave up the squibber to Tommy Edman, which, that should have been an out. And then he walks a guy. If we're talking about just
the squibber to Edman with the broken bat through the hole.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
we can move on. It's all right.
No, it's weak contact.
It's just it's a well-placed ball.
I didn't mean to fucking take us to a dead end here. I'm just trying to replay the events.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I just, when we're talking about how you're going to get outs and how you have to be ready to attack a lineup, especially at this stage in the season and this stage of this series, like you have to, I think, start to revisit or restructure an attack plan. And this is about making adjustments and trying to stay one pitch ahead of your opponent and having an idea. And we talk about this with starting pitching, having a feel for how you've gone about your business early in the lineup. And then through the second time through, maybe not trying to expose anything, keeping track of where you have deployed certain things, giving each group a different look. So you've gotten all of your outs maybe with similar pitches, but at different times against different guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered the game. Like, that was pretty much the game. Obviously, the Dodgers scored 2. What was that, in the 8th?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 in the 8th on a couple sac flies. Yeah, I mean, it was a great game. I enjoyed it immensely, and that's not just because the Dodgers won. I think I said that when the Yankees were up 6-5. I was like, this is a fucking great game. It was a great finish. I think all of us here on the show and listening and watching, we all maybe would have preferred a longer series. More baseball is always better, but hell of a finale. I think that the only thing that I was kind of dreading going into this game was like, don't give me like a boring ass like 5-1 game where like there's not much action.
When it opened up early.
Yeah, it's just like, you pile on. It's 5-1 by the third, and then it just like stays there, and it's like, yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad it worked out this way, because I was thinking to myself, all right, Kopech in the fourth. And again, this kind of goes back to the conversation that we were having about having a line of delineation. Like, this is where we're going to make this move. This is where we're going to make this move. If they scored, I was wondering, do they score 2 or 3 here? Do they stick with Kopech and try to keep it close, or have him run out there and maybe squeeze that juice early in this portion and say, all right, he's gotten through this? Because I mean, he had one runner, put one guy on that inning that he pitched. But outside of that, I think
2 guys,
fairly harmless. 2 guys? Was it 2 guys?
Not gonna walk. Yeah,
not gonna walk. All right. So given the opportunity, if they can get another inning of work out of him, are they closer? And then they come up and they put up that 5 spot and they tie it. So it's like that question didn't have to be answered, whether or not he was going to really chase the ball game or not. But it felt like he had made that decision. Like, no, it felt like the bullpen themselves, Blake Treinen mainly, was like, we're not fucking around with a trip back to LA. You brought your bags to the ballpark, and that's cute. I appreciate the sentiment, but you go ahead and take those back home, because you're not going to be unpacking in Hollywood, pal. It ain't happening.
No. Jay, any other thoughts on the game itself?
No, I mean, more on this game specifically, I agree with you. I thought it was a very entertaining game. It's not going to go down as the greatest World Series ever, or anything close to that. But it was far from lacking entertainment. I mean, the games that we got, there will certainly be flashbulb moments or sequences that I will remember many years from now as being, that was the 2024 World Series. I mean, that we started off with a walk-off grand slam, and a couple of us were together watching it at that point is very cool. And it ends in a game that was, a little bit carnival-like at points, but to your point, felt like a multi-chapter story that was written, and it ended with the team that we thought at the very beginning of the season was best positioned to win the World Series. But the journey to get there was a lot different. And I think, to give the Dodgers credit, like a lot more like challenge ridden. They overcame, not that this is a classic underdog story, but they overcame adversity in a way that just, going from March to right now and saying, oh, the Dodgers, they did it. They did what we thought they were going to do. It was a little bit more complicated and a little bit more interesting than that. So that would be my, kind of final takeaway on the 24 World Series.
Joe, put a bow on the 2024 World Series for me.
I think the Dodgers go out and get Juan Soto. And that's it. That's all she wrote.
I feel like we're going to have plenty of time to discuss the Juan Soto sweepstakes, but talk to me about the World Series.
The World Series was great. We've been talking about the whole podcast. I don't know, like the Dodgers were the better team, dude. And they did it, like, honestly, I would say the Dodgers probably did it at 70% strength. If you want me to wrap a bow on it, like they did it with so many pitching injuries. I know every team has injuries, but like if you look at the starters, I mean, Jay had the stat earlier that I read on Twitter. Like Jack Flaherty ended the playoffs with an ERA over 7, and he was their game 1 starter. Like, when has that ever happened? A team wins the World Series with the game 1 starter having like an historically bad postseason.
In addition to your 4th starter being a bullpen game. Like, exactly. They had their game 1 starter throw a stinker after a bullpen game. So, and to still win in 5 is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, the bullpen is strong. But I'm just saying, this Dodgers team as a whole is like, I feel like they're not even at full strength. It's scary. And honestly, I was kind of joking saying that Juan Soto thing, but that was just the first thing that came in my head because I'm watching the post game. And I really do think the Dodgers, I don't want to get ahead of myself, might sign Juan Soto. Why not? But I guess that's a larger conversation.
Yeah. I mean, like the Dodgers, to their credit, are a team that
all the deferred money,
they never just like win and then they're like, all right, we can ride this for a little while. They win and then they try harder to win again. Like they went out and they won the World Series in 2020, and then at the deadline they fucking went out and got Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. They gave Bauer all that money coming off the Cy Young in 2020. They gave all that fucking money to Mookie Betts
and David Price.
$350.
Yeah, they did have David Price as well, but
and they ate that salary.
Right.
And no else. They're
Bauer,
getting they're getting Roki Sasaki this offseason.
They're not getting Sasaki. He's coming to Boston.
For dirt fucking cheap because he's leaving early. He's going to get paid like $2 million a year. Shohei's getting paid $2 fucking million a year.
Much rather come to Hollywood, Jared.
Brother,
no.
He's coming to LA. If he gets posted, he's going to LA 100%.
No, Daisuke already talked to him. Daisuke was like, you're going to love Boston.
You think Daisuke has more pull than Shohei fucking Ohtani?
Yeah,
I do.
Poppy doesn't have any pull, or nobody loves Poppy in Boston, but Daisuke. Look out, Daisuke. Yeah, when Daisuke walks into the room, people definitely listen.
But Daisuke is bigger in Japan than Shohei.
Shut the fuck up. Ohtani has more pull than the president, dude. Anybody on earth, Shohei has more pull. When it comes to baseball players in Japan,
Shohei Ohtani will receive write-in votes this year in the United States of America presidential election.
He's not an American citizen.
Do you think that matters to people?
Doesn't matter.
That matters not at all to people. No,
I guess not. But yeah, it's scary. It's scary how the Dodgers are this good. We know they're going to be better next year just because Shohei's pitching and guys are going to be healthy that were not healthy this year. And yeah, could you
imagine Shohei pitching this game? Because like alternate universe, Shohei starts game 1 and he's going in this game. Shohei versus Gerrit Cole in this game.
Yeah, that would have been nuts.
Would have been fucking insane.
It's too bad we'll never get to see that because Gerrit Cole's going to opt out and sign with the fucking Marlins or something.
He might go to the Dodgers. He might go to the Dodgers.
If that's the case, would we have seen this one from Shohei or from Cole against Shohei?
I wasn't watching the post game, but was Gerrit Cole doing the post game presser wearing a Boris hat or no?
No. I think is I haven't seen it either, but I'm guessing he was aptly clad.
So then the answer is we don't know.
He's got a little less leverage this time around.
Yeah, I mean, he just blew the World Series, so.
Well, he didn't cover first base because he didn't want to risk popping a hammy before free agency.
Right.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, Yankee fans could probably use some better help. Those guys, it's going to be a long offseason, especially after Juan Soto signs with the Dodgers or the Mets. So luckily, Baseball is Dead is sponsored by BetterHelp. And you know what? To all the baseball fans who listen to Baseball is Dead, highly recommend seeking out therapy, especially during the offseason. It's a good time to get into it. Baseball's gone. Your nightly routine of sitting down in front of the TV, turning on Dallas Braden, listening to Dallas Braden's vocal cords put you to sleep at night, watching some West Coast baseball on the East Coast. Those things become routine, right? And now, after tonight, it's gone. It's gone for several months. The thing that distracts us, the thing that makes us happy, the things that gives us purpose, makes us feel for better or for worse. The offseason is a dark and lonely place for a lot of people, myself included. That's why I go to therapy. I need it all year round, but if you haven't tried it, I would suggest the offseason, great place to start. Try it out. See if it's for you. I have also benefited greatly from therapy. Said this a million times. Started in 2010. Been there ever since. If you're thinking of starting therapy, I would say give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist. And you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. That is a great, great benefit. Take off the mask with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/baseball. You guys know how to spell baseball. BetterHelp.com/baseball today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's podcast.
Thank you.
Dallas, you want to put a bow on this World Series?
I think there's a lot to be said for a team that went out and spent the most money trying to win the World Series. And in year one of acquiring generational talents, not just one, but two, and having reached the pinnacle in year one of both of what will be the Ohtani and Yamamoto experience. And Joe and I have already planned the welcome party for Sasaki. So I think you have to appreciate that, especially in a day and age where, sure, we love the underdog story. We all love the underdog story. I think we bleed the underdog story. That being said, in a day where you're begging for people to give a damn, the Dodgers as an organization, as a franchise, from top to bottom, show you that they give a damn. They have all of the fucks to give. And they're right now planning on a way to give them to their fans in the form of a championship parade. So it's a tip of the cap to the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have weathered a storm of hurdles and vacancies in different spots, a 2.0 rotation at times. They won with more games started with a bullpen than they did, frankly, a starting pitcher. And to say all of that, their superstar helped limp his way through the finish line, but it was a collective effort. And I think another tip of the cap to Dave Roberts and the way that he was able to navigate a very difficult pitching situation. The masochist in me wanted 14 innings because I wanted to see what they were going to do. Were we going to get another Honeywellian effort? But either way you
That's all
slice
this
it,
guy cares about.
Brent Honeywell is a world champion. Shohei Ohtani is a world champion. And I don't have to live in a world where neither one of those things are true anymore, Jared.
Yeah, that's true.
It's crazy. Not enough people are talking about that inning that Honeywell gave in Game 4.
He died
like
for
without that inning,
ring.
like, you know, it just doesn't fall together today the same way. And you know, like I think he might be our MVP. I think he might be our MVP. I think he might be our MVP.
They were saying that again on the broadcast. Like, thank God for for Honeywell giving up 4 runs. Giving up 4 runs in 4 innings. Like, thank God for him. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have won this.
Dallas mentioned the underdog story. The best underdog story, and one that will continue on, and the one that we're very thankful for. This was year 1 with Underdog, and a big, big, big thank you to Underdog, because without them, none of this shit's possible. This train has been rolling for 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 8 seasons. We're on our 8th season of the franchise, and it has been our best yet. Hands down, no questions asked. It is because of the people at Underdog who saw what we're about and what we bring to the table and what we do for the baseball world. And they said, all right, we'll put these guys together. We'll bring in Baseball is Dead, and then we will give them literally all the assets that they could ever possibly need and more. From the All-Star Game trip, the Dinger Derby, the live streams that we've done, all the podcasts that we've done this season. shout out to Connor doing the clips, Corey doing the graphics, Jeremy cutting all the clips, Mike Emond doing all the vlogs, Jake, the tireless hours that Jake puts in to get the podcast on YouTube and on Spotify and iTunes. It's a lot of late nights and it's a lot of early mornings because he's doing Section 10 and Baseball is Dead. Jay Hay on the 1s and 2s with all the nugs. Having him in the fold full time has been fucking awesome. A godsend. His effort and how much he cares bleeds into everyone else, and it makes everyone else fired up and how much they care. Joseph being here again this year. I know you have the YouTube channel, but we're obviously very fortunate enough to have you on the Monday episodes. And then obviously for the playoffs, you add something very, very special to the podcast. I think everyone loves and appreciates when you're here. And then Dallas Braden, the man is a former big league pitcher turned MLB broadcaster who I remember back in the Barstool days when we were trying to find a perfect fit to do the podcast with. And it was like, we need a guy that a lot of baseball players, as you know, can be very dry, very boring, and have no personalities. So to check off the boxes of we need a guy with personality, we need a guy who's relatively young, we need a guy who hasn't made over $100 million as a player because they're not going to be super motivated to latch onto a project like this, and be super knowledgeable and be able to speak on the game in a way where you're okay getting made fun of and talking shit and getting shit talked back to you. And to check all of those boxes, I would sit here and say that maybe there's 3 of those guys on planet Earth. Dallas Braden is one of them, and he's the best of them. So we're very lucky to have Dallas as part of this. Without him, it's just not, we're not Baseball is Dead. Without any of these guys, we're not Baseball is Dead. So I've been very, very lucky to have this season be the perfect blend of everything that I've ever wanted this podcast to be. And that's because Underdog made it happen by believing in what we can bring to the table and what we can do. And the guys that I do the show with, it's a total team effort. And I'm very, very proud of everything that we did this year. I think it's the best season of baseball coverage that we've ever had as a team together. And it's just the beginning. I feel like what we're building here with Underdog is something that we're looking to do for a long, long time. And again, thank you to all the fans, all the viewers, all the listeners, because if you guys don't care about what we're doing, then Underdog is like, you guys are great, but no one fucking cares. So see you later. So thank you to everyone who has supported us this year. And again, as always, like I've said, if you know baseball fans in your life that they love baseball as much as we do, please tell them about the show, because that is how we grow. That's how we continue to turn out more content, more podcasts, more live streams, more vlogs on the YouTube channel. Jake, did I forget anybody? I feel like I got everybody.
Nah, I think you absolutely nailed it.
Okay. And shout out to the Baseball is Dead Discord. Yeah, for all the participation this year for Family Feud, which in the offseason, I think we will be bringing back a different version of it, where we're going to be doing some Section 10 versus Baseball is Dead competitive nature content. Family Feud will be a part of that. I know people have asked, is the Jay Hay MVP Cy Young segment coming back? Absolutely. The Mount Rushmores will be coming back in the offseason, as always, as a staple. So stay tuned for all that. We're not going anywhere. There's no break. The baseball offseason, it for me is just as fun. All the conversations that come about once there's no games to talk about, just kind of where our brains go in the offseason is always very fun. So stay tuned. We're not going anywhere. We're not taking a vacation. We're not taking a break. There will be more Baseball is Dead literally next week. So I don't know if you guys have anything else that you'd like to add.
No, I mean, Jay, go ahead.
I got nugs.
Yeah, let's get some nugs.
Okay. Yeah, this was a good game for nugs. We'll go in chronological order here. Aaron Judge is the first Yankees batter with a home run in the bottom of the first inning of a World Series game since Hideki Matsui in Game 2 of 2003. To your point, Jared, I had to double check to make sure that was still the same game for my notes. Felt like a different game.
Mhm.
Jack Flaherty is the first pitcher to allow back-to-back homers in the first inning of a World Series start since Don Drysdale gave up consecutive homers to Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson in Game 1 of the 1966 World Series. And it's also the first time the Yankees have ever hit consecutive homers in the first inning of a postseason game, not just a World Series game. Jack Flaherty is the first pitcher since Harry Harper, who was born in 1895, to allow multiple homers in a start that lasted fewer than 10 batters in the World Series. And Jack Flaherty's 7.36 ERA is the highest in postseason history by any NL pitcher who made at least 5 postseason starts. Giancarlo Stanton, his homer tied him for 10th all-time in career postseason homers, and he's the 12th player ever with 7 or more homers in a single postseason. Those 7 homers are a Yankees franchise record for homers in a postseason as well. The Gerrit Cole is the first pitcher since Hall of Famer Christy Mathewson in Game 2 of 1912 World Series to have a start with 5 or more runs allowed, but 0 earned runs allowed in the World Series. So obviously it's been 112 years since something like this happened. Brusdar Graterol is the 6th pitcher to issue 3 or more walks in an appearance of 5 or fewer batters faced in the World Series. I won't name all of those people, but the most recent one prior to this was Derek Holland in Game 2 of the 2010 World Series. Clay Holmes became the 3rd Yankees pitcher to appear in 5 games within a single World Series, joining John Wetland in 1996 and the original Mike Stanton in 2001. Gerrit Cole is the 6th pitcher with a start of 6 or more innings pitched and 0 earned runs while facing elimination in the World Series since 1990, joining the famous duel between John Smoltz and Jack Morris in Game 7 of 1991, Curt Schilling in Game 5 of 1993, Brandon Backey in Game 4 of the 2005 World Series, and Yordano Ventura in Game 6 of the 2014 World Series. Gerrit Cole is the 7th pitcher to allow 5 or more runs while logging at least 108 pitches in a World Series start in the wild card era. The names there: Glasnow, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, David Wells, and both Livan Hernandez and Al Leiter in the 97 World Series. So frustrating.
Credit to you for mentioning that, Jay.
Yeah, thanks. Juan Soto is the 2nd youngest player in Yankees franchise history with 3 or more walks and at least 1 hit in a World Series game. The only person younger was Lou Gehrig in Game 4 of the 1928 World Series. This is the first time the Yankees have committed 3 errors in a World Series game since Game 7 in 2001. And get this, 3 or more errors when facing elimination in the World Series in the last 50 years. The Yankees have done that twice. All other franchises combined have done that twice. Tough break for the Bombers. And wrapping up here, Mookie Betts becomes the only active position player with 3 World Series titles. And credit to Sarah Langs for this one. A win as a starting pitcher and a save in the same postseason series. Since saves became official in 1969. That's obviously Walker Buehler being the person there. Ranger Suarez, Clayton Kershaw, Mad Bum, Kevin Millwood, Oral Hershiser, Catfish, and Jack Billingham.
Jackie B.
Freddie Freeman joins Reggie Jackson as the only players in MLB history to win an MVP and a World Series with one team, and then win a World Series MVP with a second team. Which is very specific, but also kind of cool,
Cool
and unique. Yeah, the Yankees are the first team in history to have 3 home runs, 3 or more homers, and 9 or more walks in a World Series game and lose that game. They are the 3rd team in World Series history to hit 3 homers and allow 0 homers and lose the game. The only other instances in World Series history of that happening are the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1949 Game 3 against the Yankees, and the famous Game 4 in the 93 World Series between the Blue Jays and the Phillies, where the final score was 15-14, and somehow the Blue Jays scored 15 runs without hitting a single home run. Pretty incredible stuff there. And lastly, Juan Soto, the 6th player in his age 25 season or younger to produce an OPS of 1,100 or higher in a single postseason with a minimum of 50 plate appearances, joining Griffey in 95, Troy Glaus in 2002, Albert Pujols in 2004, and both Arozarena and Carlos Correa in 2020. And those are the final nugs of the 24 season.
There you go. Them's the nugs. Joseph, any final thoughts?
Yep, that's all she wrote. Good season. You know, if you look at the season, it started off when we first started. It was in Korea. Ippei betrayed Shohei. He betrayed him. He stabbed in his back. He stole $16 million. And we come a long way from that point. I think, honestly, it was Shohei's first World Series. It was another season of Shohei. I think to get 50-50, win a World Series, come into the new team, the big fucking team, and he's not pitching without even pitching. He wins the World Series, has the best season for a DH in history. I think his only competition this year for best player was Aaron Judge. And to be honest, I think the way the season ended, Aaron Judge kind of spoiled that, because statistically, Aaron Judge was the better hitter. But to make that error, have that postseason, I think you just got to say it's another season of Shohei, and that's like 4 in a row, baby. So let's show some love.
Showbays
that we're witnessing.
Showbays love it.
Shout out to the Showbays. Dallas, final thoughts?
Yeah, it's I think I speak for everybody here when I say just thank you to the fans for rocking with us once again, man. We've had a lot of awesome times. We've had a lot of awesome things to celebrate throughout the baseball season. I don't think that I would have been able to get through this season not only without you dudes, but without all of the folks who listen and all the folks who have been able to follow along. I mean, guys who listen to the podcast, who end up watching card breaks, who I end up running into out in New Orleans at Taylor Swift concerts. Shout out Preston. Just the world we have. It's all because of the folks who choose to spend time with us and talk ball with us. And I'm forever appreciative of that, forever grateful of that, especially these last couple seasons, this one in particular. But yeah, just thank you. And thank you guys on the other end of this, man. You know, I love you dudes.
Jay, hey, final thoughts?
This is obviously, I'm very thankful to you guys and Underdog, and I think you were very eloquent in communicating all that. I will just say that this is the most fun I've had in a baseball season, personally, professionally, whatever, in at least a decade, if not longer. And that's several stops ago for me. So I'm very grateful for the position that we find ourselves in. And, you know, I'm very grateful for the fans and the interactions that we get there. So absolutely tremendous season from my perspective.
Jake's takes?
Yeah, just a hell of a season, boys. It was a tough way for the Yankees to go out, but I still had a lot of fun.
I'm with you.
When are we back, Jake? When are we back?
I think we'll start off-season schedule on Monday.
Okay, cool. All right. So, all right. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed the World Series playoff coverage that we did this year. And like I said, no breaks, no vacations. We will be back on Monday.
Wow.